the hard things on my journey has been going through a divorce. Not just being a single mom for a period of time, but some of the things that you go through internally. There's a few things on my checklist that I can think of that are at the top. One, am I good enough? Am I making the right choice? Specifically around the holidays. You know, one of the things I think I've been guilty of, and maybe you can relate to this too, is guilt parenting. Maybe overbuying some things for your kids during the holidays to supplement not having the other parent there, or maybe the other parent wasn't good enough at the time, so you wanted to make sure that you were filling in those shoes for that parent. There's been some things along the lines too where I felt that I wasn't good enough because I had given up on the marriage. And so I would think to myself, am I being a good enough mom because I gave up on that marriage? Times were really, really hard, 365, not just during the holidays. But during the holidays, everything was amplified. Not only did I divorce my children's father, but it felt like I divorced the entire family. Not only did my children lose the father at the time, but they lost aunts and uncles and what were cousins, and it really tore our family apart. I remember that first Christmas after the divorce where we were talking, do we stay together? Do we do Christmas together? And in our circumstance, we decided to have Christmas together for the sake of the kids because they were so little. And we woke up on Christmas morning, and that Christmas, there wasn't even a gift for me under the Christmas tree. I guess it still stings to this day. This is a type of grief that does go along the lines with ambiguous grief, but I've often referred to this as living grief. The reason we refer to this as living grief is because the person hasn't passed away. This is a divorce. This is somebody who's still alive. They are grieving what's going on in their life, and they haven't passed on. This next story that you're about to hear is heartbreaking. It's a story and a journey about a mother and a daughter. Melinda's journey is new. She's still in it, going through it. You will notice that she doesn't open up as much as some of our other stories, and that's okay. She hasn't completed her journey, and I hope one day she'll come back and tell us more and we can hear more about her. I do divulge that Melinda and my daughter are friends. It's beautiful to watch them grow together, but as I mentioned, her story is still fresh. So, like you, I have many questions, and I want to ask more questions, but there are some things that haven't unfolded for Melinda and her daughter. So, the reason I bring this story to you is so that you can see that everybody's in different stages of their journey. So, without further ado, here's Melinda's journey. So we're here with Melinda. So kind of give us a little bit of a background, like what it's like in your area, maybe like where you live, what it's like being in Orem, Utah. Tell us a little bit about your daughter and just the area you're in.
Yeah, so I'm in Orem, Utah. It's a college town. There's a college in Provo and in Orem, which are basically connected. So it's lots and lots of college students. You get a lot of friends that move in and out, a lot of movement that way. But you could make lots of great relationships. It's very family oriented, very family friendly. I have a 9-year-old daughter, and when we moved to this apartment, she had instantly a friend group because there was 3 or 4 girls that lived in this same unit, same complex as her. So and everybody just ran around and played with everybody. So she's expanded her friend group from there. But it's been very family oriented, very welcoming, community oriented place.
Is she your only?
She is my only living. I had twins that were born at 22 weeks. And they were born alive, but they only lived 15 minutes each.
Okay.
And
I didn't know that about you. Sorry. I didn't even know.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And they were born in 2014. And so they were born before Virginia, my daughter. She actually was a twin too. I lost that twin in pregnancy as well.
Melinda, that's a lot. Do twins run in your family?
Actually, they were both in vitro. When I was 28, I had some major abdominal surgery, and it kind of messed up my fallopian tubes and stuff, so I couldn't get pregnant naturally. And so we ended up going her out.
That is, my husband and I had quite the journey with Destiny, so I understand that journey myself. That's an intense journey. So, have I told you what we're going to be talking about and why I've invited you on? I maybe haven't told you the
A
full
little
extent.
bit.
We're going to be talking about living grief. Have you ever heard the term living grief? It's
I don't really have.
okay. So, we've heard the term grief before. Just a quick little background of living grief. So, it's defined, living grief is also known as okay, so let me just read what the definition of living grief is. It's also known as living loss. It refers to the experience of grieving a significant change or loss in a relationship with a living person where the person is still physically present, but there's emotional relationship presence in a dimensional or absence. It's a form of grief that often goes acknowledged because it doesn't involve a death, but it could also be as painful as challenging to cope with. So some of the references would be divorce, separation, or even sometimes we think about living grief too. It can be good grief as well. Good grief is also another topic we talk about sometimes. Sometimes people want to have a healthy breakup, maybe a couple that's been dating a while and they both decide, you know what, this is just not for me. That's good grief, but it's also, you have to go through the grieving process with that. So,
Mhm.
divorce in this case, what we're going to kind of go over some grief with that, talking a little bit about that. So, we're going to talk about your grief journey today. And before we get into the heart of everything, I wanted you to kind of paint the picture of a little bit about maybe the beginning stages of what we're going to talk about. So, with Melinda, her grieving journey, we're going to talk about divorce. I know a little bit about your story. I don't want to give away any spoilers and I don't want to divulge anything that you're not willing to share. So, I'm going to let everything come out organically. Before we get into the hard stuff, I'd like for you to kind of take us back to the beginning, maybe the romantic side of things. Let's start there. Can you tell us a little bit about how you met? You don't have to share names. You can just keep it anonymous if you want, but tell us a little bit about your journey there. Start us at the beginning before things changed.
So I moved back to my hometown in Nevada and was teaching school full time. And I started just having a group of singles over to my house on Monday nights. And after I'd been there about 2 years or so, my husband knocked on the door and showed up for one of those meetings. He obviously wasn't then, but that was my first time that I had met him. And I joked with him that he went ahead and dated every other girl that came to that before he dated me. We had some good times together. We liked it. We enjoyed going for walks and talking and spending a lot of time doing those kinds of things rather than sitting in front of movies or doing stuff where there wasn't as much communication. He had gone to visit his sisters for a Thanksgiving thing, and they were razzing him about marrying someone of the member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints because they had all left the church and they thought that that he shouldn't be doing that. And so there was some resistance from his family when we got engaged, and a lot of um, and so that was kind of an interesting thing to navigate. He didn't really have any family support at the wedding besides his mom came, but
It's hard.
none of the rest of the family was there. But my family rallied around him. I have 5 siblings, and all of them had a baby boy between August and December,
Oh,
and
wow.
and we got married the following February. So we tried to make things as convenient for them as possible, but we had a lot of fun, and we like did a circle of visiting people and just had a lot of fun being the favorite aunt and uncle. And when we could do things, I was almost 31 when we got married, so we pretty much started trying right away for kids, and that didn't work out. But and so we looked into adoption, looked into several different things. He went away to school in California for a year. We kind of just had a long distance relationship, which we were in contact regularly and there. And then he later took a job in Georgia for a little while. Again, we did the same thing. Played lots of online games and stayed connected and that sort of thing. And then he lost that job, and we ended up settling back and coming to Utah. That's how we ended up in Utah. Um,
Your family from Utah then here now?
and my parents actually moved. I was born in Utah, but
Oh, okay.
my family moved out to Nevada when I was 2. But when my dad retired, they ended up buying a place up in Heber, and they left the end of 2011, and my husband took the job in Georgia at the beginning of 2012. So it was pretty much simultaneously everybody left, and I was left in Nevada with half the school year left to teach.
Oh, wow.
And then we ended up staying Utah and getting a job, and then we started our fertility journey once we were here in Utah. The first IVF worked, but then they were born early and didn't survive. We did the second round and got my daughter, and so that was seemed to be the joy of my life. We ended up moving to Orem at that point, Provo Orem area, because he was trying to go to school. I was working in Heber, but I commuted up to Heber. Still commuting to Heber at this point, but and so we moved around several places. We helped manage apartments to make it work to live there and pay off our fertility treatments and everything else.
Oh,
They're
they're
expensive. Yeah, all the financial stuff that came along with that. And my husband was always dissatisfied with our financial situation. That was always one of those that he's always like, I want to have more money. I want to be able to spend the money the way I want to spend it. So it was always, that was kind of always his thing. He wanted a way to get lots of money, get rich quick, kind of thing, get lots
okay.
of money and that stuff. And so, yeah, but we were doing it, we were making it, and
At this point, were you guys active in your faith as members of the church? Did you
yeah,
guys participate in that? How did
yeah.
that play into the journey? Was his family inactive? You mentioned that earlier.
So all of his sisters had left the church. His mom was active. His dad passed away before we met, and they had one brother that's military, and he's active still, and was active then. He was just in Korea when we got married.
Yeah. And, on my own personal journey with fertility, I just remember talking a lot about how people can sometimes say insensitive things. One day I'm going to write a book and it's going to be all the insensitive things people say about grief. And sometimes they can say insensitive things like on God's time. Maybe you've heard this one before, but do
Yeah,
you ever remember hearing anything insensitive about your fertility journey, just out of curiosity?
yeah, just
Yeah.
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 And
It
then
it really is. I mean, maybe this isn't a good time to talk about it, and I'm just gonna just put it out there, but sometimes our body just physically it isn't capable. And I'm very grateful that you have Virginia. I'm more than happy she's here. My daughter and her are very good friends, just FYI. But sometimes people just aren't capable of having children, and that has nothing to do with God, honestly. And I'm going to put that out there. Maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but some people just can't conceive children. But
yeah,
so
no,
yeah.
that's true. And one of the, I mean, when what my water broke with the twins at
Mm.
just over 21 weeks, and
Ugh.
so they're like, well, if you don't go into labor, maybe you can keep you in the hospital and kind of, and maybe you can carry this pregnancy far enough along to where they're viable and can survive. When they were born, I went through a little bit of a faith challenge there because I was like, okay, well, if they were meant to be, and so because I'm like, did I not have enough faith that they didn't survive? Was that,
Oh
was it
yeah.
my fault? Did I not pray hard enough? Did I not believe strong enough? And the answer came to me, no, you have faith and you had enough faith to let them go. And that's my miracle, is that I know that I was supposed to have them and let them go. And that I had the faith to do that.
Yeah.
But
It sounds like your faith was strengthened through that process.
yeah, in the end, yeah, it ended up being a faith strengthening thing, although it was definitely not the route I would have chosen for myself.
No, absolutely
Nobody
not.
would. Nobody
No.
would. But
No.
and then when I was pregnant with Virginia and I lost the first twin, I had several people say, "Well, it'll be easier to carry one baby anyway, so it's probably a blessing that you don't have the second baby."
Oh, so insensitive.
So that was probably about one of the worst comments that I got. I'm like, well, that may be true for my physically, but I'm like, emotionally, this is
You're grieving the death of a child.
this is not how I meant for it to be. But then uh,
Oh,
we had when so Virginia was part of the eggs that were harvested all at the same time. They harvested and were able to have 5 viable eggs. My twins Liam and Elsie were the first set, and they said, well, if these two, they had planted 3 and one didn't take. They said if these 2 eggs grow to blastocyst stage, then we'll freeze them. But if only one of them does, then we'll just have to start over. And so I felt really strongly that Virginia's sister or brother held on and was like, I'm going to keep growing and so that you can make it to Earth.
oh, that.
This is so emotional for me. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. It makes me love
Emotionally.
your daughter even more. I just,
Yeah. So
So throughout this process, did it bond you and your husband even closer at the time?
at the time it did, yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine it wouldn't.
Yeah, at the time we drew closer.
Okay.
So we were working down here and living down here, and his job started having him required to work on Sundays quite a bit. Kind of when there was a started to be a big change in our relationship, things that I didn't necessarily that were more subtle that looking back on I can see a lot more clearly
In
than I
hindsight now.
but yeah, that was kind of he stopped wanting to, he was gone when we were reading scriptures or when we were having family prayers, he wasn't there. They didn't come to church and because
Yeah.
he was working, and so that was kind of his excuse, but it became easier and easier for him to slip out of that. And then as he started to not be as active participating as much in his faith, I saw changes in him. Started with small lies and small untruths, blaming things on Virginia that she couldn't have possibly done at that age or
Oh, that's horrible. So how, okay, so let's go back now. I ran into you one day at a carnival, and it seemed to me at the time, this kind of, you were blindsided by what had happened. Take me to what happened to you. Take us to that moment. So I know things kind of unfolded almost like in slow motion for you at the time. It's like a crisis often does. I felt like you were in crisis at that time when I saw you. But what, take us now to the understanding of what happened to you. I feel like you were blindsided by what happened. You kind of were clueless. Flash forward now. That's over with. The honeymoon phase is over.
yeah.
Let us know what happened.
So my husband had lost his job in January of last year, and so he was looking for new work, and he found a job, but he didn't really like it because the hours weren't conducive to family life, he said,
Mm.
with variable hours and stuff. So he really wanted to get into something law enforcement, and so he was talking to his looking in Georgia because that's a place that he wanted to live. He'd already tried it once. That one didn't work out either, but um, so and I talked to him about it. I did my own praying and searching for answers, and I felt very strongly that it was a bad idea for him to go ahead and go to Georgia. And that had been our anniversary weekend that this was happening, and then so on the Monday after our anniversary, I was like, I really just don't feel good about this. I don't think this is a good idea. And he's like, why? What's wrong? I'm trying to be the problem solver, trying to figure out what he should do to fix that. And I was like, I don't know what the problem is. I just don't think this is a good idea. But that was Monday night, and Wednesday morning he had his car packed up and left for Georgia. And so initially I was like, well, we'll see what this kind of comes to. He been wanting me to obviously move out there with him. So I was struggling with some of that, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, I'm not willing to just give up my tenure in teaching and stuff that I had established here in Utah on a chance that we might have things might go better in Georgia. And so I thought about it, prayed about it, felt like I needed to stay and teach in Utah another year. And I told him that, super thrilled about that. But it's like I would have to be applying for jobs in February, March, maybe April at the latest. And I was just like, I just don't feel like that's what I should be doing. And so when I made the decision that I was staying, that felt freeing to me that I at least knew where I was supposed to be, even though he was. Um, and then I was looking for some documentation for him and found some documents from work about an incident that had happened that he told me he didn't really know too much about, and found a whole document explaining exactly what the incident was with his signature and their signature. So I was like, okay. Like, so why did
Can you be more specific?
so he had an incident with a fellow TSA member,
Okay.
had said some racial things to her,
Okay.
and just about where she was from Syria, and something about her name and stuff. And
Pretty shocking.
yeah, I don't know that
Mm.
he was intending it that way because he
Okay.
is kind of a jokester and likes to
Mm.
make conversation and stuff, and so I don't know that he necessarily even saw it as bad as it was, but I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know. really not something you have to be really careful about race and gender.
Especially in TSA. Yeah.
Especially when you're working at TSA. Yes.
Yeah.
And then had a envelope come in the mail. It was addressed to him, and I was like, I wonder what, from Wells Fargo. And I'm like, I wonder what this is. Open it up. It was a credit card bill for $15,000 that he
Oh my gosh.
opened up by himself and was past due on paying and not making the payments on. So
Was that just a huge shock for you?
was a huge shock. And as I was looking at, there were things like he was looking for he wanted a new pair of sunglasses because he had broken his. And then he's like, yeah, I found these in the basement. I put them away when Virginia was a baby so she wouldn't break them. And then looking at the credit card charge, I could see the credit card charge for Ray-Ban where he'd gone and bought himself a new pair of glasses because he did. So
at that time, seeing that, were you like, what was going through your mind? Like, were you thinking, like, straight out, he's lying to me? Did you call him out? Were you just trying to process, why is he lying to me? What was going through your head at that time?
I was like, I like called him up. I'm like, explain this to me. I was like, I can't trust you. I don't feel like I can trust you. This is, you got to get on top of this. I had within a month of him leaving, I had separated our finances because it became clear that he was going to spend the money he was making and any of my money he had access to. So
that's wild to me that quickly how things had just turned.
Yeah, it was crazy how fast once he left, he felt, I don't know, more at liberty to do that or whatever. I don't know. But.
So I think some of the questions that come to my mind instantly from an outside perspective, is there mental illness involved right away?
Yeah, I wondered that, but not anything that I know.
No answers. So you don't have any answers to that sometime a year later now. Has it been a year?
It's been over a year, yeah.
So no answers to that. Cheating. Do you suspect any cheating has gone on?
No.
None of that.
Just a financial, yeah.
Just went off and just decided, hey, I'm going to go do this and I'm not going to have any unbridled financial freedom.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's what he'd been trying with his credit card. And that's what he was trying that. And I'm like, you got to convince me that you're trying to make good on your debts and you're trying to take care of these things before
Okay. So at this point, so how much time goes by before you realize this isn't working, or tell me what happens?
So he came out in May for my daughter's dance recital. So that was the first time she'd seen him since February. The phone calls started out pretty much daily, and within probably 3 or 4 weeks, they were maybe once a week to every couple of weeks, not regular at all, in a very short time after he left.
Were you in shock? Were you grieving a divorce? Were you heartbroken? Where were you mentally and emotionally at this point?
At this point, it was just like, I can't let him ruin me financially. I've got to make sure that I have the financial stability that I need.
Survival mode then.
Yeah, I want to make sure I can take care of Virginia. I want to make sure I'm getting that part done. And so so I was looking first at just doing some legal separation so that our finances could be separated and whatnot.
Oh, so you did look into some legality. You were looking on the legal side of things.
And so as I started looking at that, when he came out in May, I was talking to him about it. I was trying to have some open conversations with him and get a chance to talk to him about it. My daughter had a birthday party that was like a 3-hour-long birthday party. So it's like, okay, we can talk then. My daughter will be around. Instead of coming with me to drop her off or whatever, he's like, I'm tired. I'm going to go take a nap. And so we ended up talking a little bit over the phone, but not without it was like, I could talk to you over the phone anywhere. And then after he left, I said, well, if you can show me, you got to be able to show me some actions that are going to prove to me that that we can still save this. We can still save the marriage. But I am looking into legal stuff. I will pursue it if I need to. Within a week of him being gone, it was pretty obvious that he was going to fall right back into what he was doing. You're not communicating. You're not. And so at that point, I wanted to call and talk to him and be like, and so I called and said, I feel like I just can't trust you. You're telling me the things that I want to hear, but you're not telling me the truth.
So he was feeding you, keeping you on the hook.
Yeah.
Oh,
And so I was like, I just don't feel like I can trust you. He's like, well, if you can't trust me, and he hung up the phone on me.
almost like he was just waiting for you to be the one to end it.
Yeah. So then I sent him an email and I was like, okay, these are all the reasons why I'm filing for divorce. And then I went and had to move forward to filing for divorce at that point. So that was about June. I started that process. And then but he didn't really fight anything on the divorce. He actually didn't even hire a lawyer. He just let my lawyer do all the work. And the only thing that he was worried about was when he had his visitation rights with our daughter. They wanted to make sure that was clearly spelled out in the divorce decree.
Yeah.
And he took his debt, which was good. He took his credit card debt and his student loans so he did take responsibility for that. He got the car that was almost paid off, and I got a car that had a lot more to be paid off on.
How has this affected your faith? Has it strengthened it, weakened it, tried it?
It's definitely been a trying thing, but it's strengthened it. I've sought help from different people within the church and within the temple.
Good.
I found the strength there, and I just know that just because I've known that's the only way that I've gotten through the past trials in my life. So I knew that's where I needed to turn.
Yeah. Have you, I mean, I don't know what mom on the planet wouldn't, but have you worried about your daughter, and how has this affected with Virginia? What are your thoughts there? Let's go with that.
So it's been a hard road for her. It's really affected her feelings of self-worth and things.
Absolutely.
Dad isn't being dad.
Mm-hmm. And isn't he out of the state?
He's out of the state. Yeah, he's across the country. He's in Georgia, so he's quite a ways away, and she's seen him 3 times since he left.
That is so sad and hard. Yeah.
And so it's just like,
and as moms, we feel so much guilt. We just do. We take on so much. Maybe that's not you, but I just know that as a mom, that's just kind of a role we always take on, a lot of the guilt there.
Yeah. And so in the beginning, I was trying to help them have more of a relationship. And after the last time she was out there for 2.5 weeks at the beginning of June for her summer time, a little bit of it, because he works full time. He doesn't really have a way to have her there. And
what was that? What was her feedback after that? And what was your experience while she was out there?
So I had a lot of things to get done here. So I did a lot of busy stuff. I was working a lot, but she called me pretty much every day. And if I didn't hear from her, I was calling her to make sure things were okay. It seemed like they did a couple little day trips, but for the most part, they were watching their common show on Netflix, or playing a game, or when he had to work, he has a sister out there and she works from home. So he would drop her off a little bit before 3 p.m. and she and his sister worked till 5. So my daughter was on her iPad or watching TV until her aunt was done with work, and then they'd have some sort of dinner, and then they usually watch something. And so I feel like all she did really was a lot of alone time and a lot of time on screens. And when she came back, that's what she's been wanting to do the whole time. So that it's, of course, to
it's hard
not be on screens all the time is a challenge. But he has contacted her once since she got back in the middle of June.
And at 9 years old, they don't know how to put words into what they're doing, what they're grieving. They just don't. But you can see based on their actions that there's something off. How have you navigated this? I mean, I know you, so I want to say all these wonderful things about you. So I'm just going to say a couple. You are an amazing mother. Number one, you're always doing things with your daughter. You're the first one to say, yes, you can have a play date. Yes, I'll take you here. Yes, I'll do this. But how are you navigating there's got to be some element of just the grief of the relationship lost. There's got to be. How are you navigating this?
It's hard.
Yeah.
When she came back from Georgia, he had told her that he would do anything to put our family back together. And she came home kind of hoping that there was a chance that we could be a family again. And I let her I'm like, okay. Because my initial reaction is like, what a jerk. Why are you pinning everything? You're basically putting it on me. So when I say no, I'm not willing to put us have it all go back together. And he says I'm willing, and I say no, then that makes me the bad guy. Just had to kind of sit on it and wait. And then I was like talking to her. I was like, okay, well, what actions would your dad need to do? What would he need to do?
That's smart.
Because if he says he'll do anything, what would he need to be doing? And she's come up with some things, and I'm like, okay, well, is he doing those things? And so now she's mad at him because he's not living up to his end of the bargain. He's not. I just colored her hair bright pink with her friend the other day, and she was so excited, wanted to show it to her dad, and called him twice, and he didn't answer and has not called her back.
So disappointing.
So she's just, I think she's getting to the point where she's just realizing that he's maybe not going to be very much part of her life, but it's been hard because she's like, well, if I was smarter, if I was prettier, if I got better grades, she's trying, if I did this or did that, then dad would notice me and dad would pay attention to me. And so helping her to see that that's not where your worth comes from. And mainly, yeah, your dad's confused. Your dad's struggling with something, and he's very focused on himself, and he's not seeing what he's doing, and he's trying to help her not to.
What about therapy? Have you or her attended any therapy?
We both have. So we both started therapy last summer. And mine has been ongoing since then. Unfortunately, when she started therapy, she had 2 therapy sessions, and then her therapist had a heart attack and died.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
And so then there was trauma on top of trauma, and she just wasn't quite ready to try and get attached to anybody at that point. And so I worked with my therapist, and we just I worked with her as best I could, because I was like, she just doesn't.
I don't know what therapy you went to. One of the wonderful things that I am going to implement with hopefully reaching out to people is, have you heard of INSI? So INSI is in Orem. It's a therapy for children and families. And they they implement all kinds of therapy, and they have play therapy for children. I don't know if you've ever heard of
play therapy.
Yeah. And they have all kinds of they have a sand room, all kinds of stuff. And it specializes in children's therapy and adult therapy as well. And I just wanted to refer that wonderful resource to you. They do EMDR therapy as well. I'll send you everything we talk about. I'll send you some things too if I bring them up. And I also I have a book that I wanted to refer you today too. It's co-authored by David Kessler. He does a lot of grief work, which I absolutely love him. It's called You Can Heal Your Heart. I'll send you a referral to that and an email too. He's an amazing author, and he does a lot of stuff with the grief of people who've passed, and also he links it into, it doesn't have to just be about people who've passed. He's amazing. So I'd love for you to check that out if you can. No pressure. I love Audible myself. I don't do anything by sight anymore. I'm always listening to everything on Audible. I think I brought Destiny to INSI with me a couple times. They do paint night over there for families, and I know Virginia likes to craft, but that's what opened Destiny up to going once. I brought her to a therapy session there. She has allergic to a bunch of stuff, and I had her do a therapy session just about some of her eating food allergies. Not because she doesn't, just I can't imagine being allergic to 3 things in your life that you can't have: dairy, eggs, and soy. And so I thought, oh, let's do a therapy session about it. I paid for her to do one therapy session, but I was amazed at how kid friendly they were. And so I thought, oh, I couldn't wait to tell you about it for Virginia's sake, just because they had so many tools for the children. And so I thought that maybe it'll be a good resource for you, maybe.
Yeah. We've started up with a family therapist, and so they do some play stuff with her and stuff. And so we've been working with them since about 6 months or so now. But yeah, that sounds like a good resource to look into.
No pressure, of course. And tell me, what are you doing, if anything at all, do you have a friend group? Do you have women that you're able to lean into, or do you feel pressure from anybody, or do you have people you can talk to
I have people I can talk to.
socially?
I have some different friend groups and stuff. Um, I feel a little bit isolated from some of those because some of those are like work friend groups, and being
Yeah.
out of school for the summer makes it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it makes it nice, but it also means that I'm not interacting with some of those people as much. But I know they're there at a moment's notice if I wanted to call them. And I do have some friends around here that I talk to as well. And
Good. I'm amazed by your strength. I mean, it just feels like you went from having the supportive family unit and then nothing. Some women, I guess you're not the codependent type. I feel like you're just this really dependent person now. Like you're very independent. And I'm watching you pick up the pieces of what was, it seemed like to be a healthy marriage. And suddenly he just yanked the rug out from under you. And now you're just single mom and you're doing it, it looks like gracefully to me. So maybe you're pretending to have it more together than you are, but I'm so proud of you and I'm amazed at how you're doing it. I'm so honored to be on the journey with you as a co-parent friend, a friend parent. I loved your daughter. From the first time I met you, I just thought this is such a sweet lady and your daughter's just a sweet little girl. And I love her and I love her as an influence on my daughter. And I just appreciate you being able to let me ask you these questions. I know they've been hard and uncomfortable, but the journey that you're on, navigating grief, if there's anything that I could ask you, it would be for anybody that would listen to this. What advice would you have for them?
one of the things that I've definitely been working on is self-compassion and looking at it and being compassionate with myself when things don't work out the way I want them to, or when I'm angrier than I should be, or and have compassion for myself for being upset with my ex for what he did, and having compassion for myself for maybe not seeing things because obviously looking back, you can always see little things that maybe if I'd done this, and having compassion, saying, no, this is the journey that I'm on, and I'm going to make mistakes. That's part of just this human experiences, that we make mistakes, but having that love and compassion for yourself and being able to say, I'm human, I make mistakes, and I'm still worthy, I'm of infinite worth. And having my faith in God has definitely been something that helps me to see that, because I know that no matter how much I mess up, Jesus loves me, and that he's there to uplift and support me and meet me where I'm at. But love for yourself and finding others that love and support you as well.
Well, amen. Amen to that. I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. And, to our Christian listeners and our Christian followers, I know that has just uplifted everybody. And even if you're not a Christian listener or a Christian follower, how could your story not be inspirational? That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Melinda. I appreciate you and I love you. And I thank you so much for sharing your story of inspiration. And I will happily share some more things with you once we get them uploaded. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Good night. Thank you.
Bye.